Is this a time for war, or is it a time for peace? Now one might think the tide should turn in my favor at least once. But what if your land was raided by the same enemy for 7 years straight? Just as I did, you probably would have prematurely reset defeat. So like before, the pressure was on. The enemy camped about us, and I was in my inconspicuous hideout, whittling the leftover harvest from what I thought should have been a bumper crop. It was more like a happy meal. I was happy for the snack, but I was thinking, where are all those miracles that our ancestors told us about, how God delivered them from the enemy forces? But this same God must have forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the enemy once again. But in reality, God did not leave us. We left him. We put him in a position where he could not help us. He was there all the time, but our fear separated us from his perfect love. So Satan's fiery darts broke down our faith. But the day that we received breakthrough is etched into my memory forever. I recall, out of nowhere, I heard this voice call my name. When they added mighty warrior, I looked behind me to see if there was another Gideon who better fit that greeting. That unforgettable message resounded much like this: don't let peace with your enemies be a place for compromise, where you only run and hide, but you never fight. So I quickly made a mobile altar, one where anyone could reach heaven anywhere at any time, and your conversation is never dropped. In this, I reconciled what I called him that day, Jehovah Shalom. Now, the peace of God was a military troop guarding my heart and my mind through Christ Jesus. So God could always cause us to triumph over any enemy, seen or unseen, known or unknown. As covenant partners, his inexhaustible strength covered my weakness and mine his. Now, being abandoned on the battlefield is inconceivable. So I asked him to drench a piece of lamb's wool with the dew of heaven, but leave the ground surrounding it with not even a drop of water, to check his sense for details. And he did. I realized my request was too natural, so I asked him to reverse my request and prove his supernatural favor. And he did. Now, many said I threw out a fleece, but really, I was confirming God's loyalty in battle. You are already defeated if you go to war with your back uncovered. So would this God of Israel really be fully loaded, totally equipped under pressure? I found his response time to be better than dialing 911. He had become my powerful defense, a very present help in the time of trouble. His supernatural favor encircled me like a force field, covering every side. I was heaven drenched from the east, from the west, from the north, from the south, above, beneath, inside, and out. I no longer had to fend for myself like a misguided missile headed for self-destruction, nor was I tied to anything subject to change like an unraveling cord. But picture this: our relationship was like a threefold braid that's not easily broken. Its overlapping and its undergirding held us together. It was like the Lord wrapping his arm around my front and my back so that I could stand still and stand strong in the heat of battle. Having on his whole armor, I exchanged my strength for his. Reinforced by the rock of my salvation, I was no longer fragmented, frayed, proud, or even fragile, for every broken piece became a masterpiece in the hand of my God. Nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lacking, nothing lost, because we were no longer disjointed, so we could advance as one unit. I was strengthened with might by Holy Spirit in the inner man. He was the head and I was his body. His greatest real estate investment on earth. It was like I stepped into his skin. Hidden in Christ, I can envision the kingdom realm just as he does. And together we turn the world upside down, which is really right side up. Preparing for battle, we spied out the enemy's territory, received intelligence from the enemy soldiers. We overheard him telling the Conrad how he dreamt a barley cake had tumbled into their camp. That was like a loaf of Wonder Bread smashing an entire army. His Conrad interpreted the dream that the enemy army was going to succumb to our army. I knew then that we were going to have them for lunch and that we were supplying the bread. This is what you call more than a conqueror, when the enemy announces that you won the war, but you never even fought a fight. Now that I can laugh in the face of death. I was so pumped that I enlisted 32,000 soldiers. We were a force to be reckoned with. Wall-to-wall men surrounded me. They were big and they were small. They were tall and they were short. They were young and old. They were dark and light. Some had muscles and others were mean and lean. You name it, if they were my path, they flocked to me as their commander-in-chief, just like a magnet. As I think back on my capacity strategy, I was still trying to cover my own weaknesses because I never even considered God's muscle. So we would have been going to the enemy's camp without the power of his might. And that would be like a suicide bomber. Thank God he ordered me to retest all the soldiers because I had never even qualified, not even wanted to see if they were indeed battle ready. First, the ones who were afraid, we discharged immediately. That reduced our army to 22,000. Then we determined the alertness of the rest. This further downsized the troops to 300, which is first appeared to be an unquestionable slaughter. Truly, those passing the test were sanctioned as the first special forces in the Bible. Know this, that if it was only God and you facing 120,000 soldiers, you would still be in the majority. Now with God, deliverance is always sure. However, he may use many different tactics. So would his approach be like Superman, how the twirling Clark Kent transformed inside a phone booth? Or would it be like Spider-Man releasing his binding webs from his wrist? You just can't put God in a box. So even if God's commands seem illogical for any military strike, be determined that you're going to be a good soldier, which can only be proven by complete compliance. Knowing God's past track record, he can make anything, I mean anything, out of a weapon. For us, we carried a light in a pitcher. And after that, we broke it and we shouted to the top of our lungs, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon!" My scientific calculation is simply this. First, the broken vessels represented God breaking through the enemy like a mighty flood. Then his blinding light ended the prevailing darkness. Secondly, the battle cry just announced that we were not going to decide with defeat anymore, but we were going to take back our territory from the enemy. The booming noise from the trumpets awakened the enemy's dread, prophesying their own defeat. Shaking in their boots, they turned on their own comrades, killing 105,000. That quaking disbanded the remaining 15,000, and they ran as fast as lightning. However, capturing their princes were not enough. We took the heads of their kings with this in mind. For the kingdoms of the world are merged into the kingdoms of our Lord and his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever and ever. That's a very long time. No fighter jets, no tanks, no missiles, but we had the sword of the Lord like a laser that pierced through the enemy, leaving them totally defenseless. The Lord of the breakthrough removed our burdens, destroyed our yoke, and broke the rod of the oppressors. You see, breakthrough without bridge is simply this. get all the spoils of war, but the enemy never gets anything belonging to you. Now, although today I am dressed in fatigues, on the day of battle I was arrayed as a king. The Lord had laid his honor and majesty on me. God had raised me up so high that I could sit in heavenly places, that even if the enemy thought I was crawling, I was still Lord over him. No doubt about it, we absolutely won on the battlefield, but the tragedy of it all is when Jether, my firstborn son, was charged to kill the enemy kings. He was too afraid. He had inherited my former fears, and although we led captivity captive, Jether cringed even with a sword in his hand. He saw himself only as a child and not an anointed warrior with a king-killing supernatural power. The enemy challenged his strength, so he stayed in his cramped space. And although I stepped up to take the heads of the kings, that day I lost my son. Although he never lost his life. Fear paralyzed him. You see, Jether knew I repeatedly hid in the winepress year after year. He knew that I even hid behind my own father when the masters wanted to kill me. Just maybe he thought I was hiding behind God too, instead of hiding in him. Because Jether did not recognize there was a king inside, it was impossible for him to realize the King of Kings rule. And if we don't operate as kings and priests, the level God perceives us, the power and authority that belongs to us will never be available to us simply because of our unbelief, our self-defeating unbelief. Now for you, there is another opportunity to set the record straight. Train each child the way God sculpted. But if I could turn back the hands of time, I would say, Jether, come out of the corner fighting with courage. Move strategically, move swiftly, move sure-footedly, move strongly, move in sync with the Holy Spirit, because God has already given you the victory. Then together we could say that each child will learn not to be lured into battle, but to only surrender to the leadership of the King of Glory, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, who conquers every battle, every time.